AITAH for telling my wife that we can't afford for her to be a stay-at-home mom? So my wife and I have been together for 8 years, married for 3, both in our mid-30s and now have a toddler. She works in the tech world. I'm in real estate. As a couple, we do well financially and contribute roughly 50-50 depending on how I do from year to year. Sometimes maybe more like 60-40 in her favor, other times 60-40 in mine. We don't have any major issues, though we still deal with little annoying arguments about dumb shit like most married couples with a new child. My wife has always been a little jealous of my work-life balance as my own boss, and I understand why. Real estate can be a cushy gig when you're not greedy and decent at the job. The downside is that every day I wake up not knowing when my next paycheck is coming, which is definitely stressful at times. My wife, let's call her Elle, has a well-paid salary position with good benefits, namely free health insurance for her entire family. And about a year ago, she finished a 6-figure master's degree to help push her further in her career and create more professional opportunity for herself. Unfortunately, she's miserable with her job. I get it. Her boss sucks. For almost 2 months now, she's emotionally drained every day and on the verge of tears almost every night. I'd want to leave too. So we came up with a plan. While I've been in my industry for a while, I just branched off and started my own business within it about a year ago. It's gone well so far and should have a bright future, but it's still very early and likely going to experience its fair share of bumps in the road along the way. Also, I'm not super entrepreneurial and I only work as hard as I need to in order to enjoy the life we've created for ourselves. A healthy work-life balance is more important to me than retiring at 50 but being exhausted and missing my kids' childhood. Elle's master's degree is in business development and marketing. What a coincidence. I have a company that needs to be developed and marketed. Elle wants to market a company and be in charge of its growth development. So I suggest, why don't you come grow my company and help me expand it? Not only will it help provide for us financially in the long run, but you will have that freedom that you've been yearning for since forever. She agrees it's a perfect fit. Likely 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward over the next couple years, but totally worth the early sacrifices. So the next step is leaving her job. But that takes a bit of planning for a few reasons. 1. Health insurance salary bonus timing. We need to be smart about this so we don't end up taking the L for no reason if it's avoidable without much sacrifice. 2. Alignment of some of my transactions, closing and paydays associated. 3. We have a contract with a nanny until the end of July for our toddler that runs us roughly $3,000 per MO. The plan we ultimately decided on was to have her give 4 weeks notice at end of June/early July. If they boot her that day, whatever, we can handle it. But losing her will be a big hit for them in her role, so they'll likely have her help to find a replacement at the very least before leaving. Once leaving entirely by early August, she wants to be a stay-at-home mom with our child for 6 to 8 weeks until they hit 1 year old and can go to daycare. It's a pivotal time in our child's development, and being able to be a significant part of it will be wonderful for them both, and I desperately want it for them. But the idea has always been to come work with me full-time after that, and sending our child to daycare during the workday. Our expenses are built on a dual-income household, and we now also have 6-figure student loan debt from Elle's grad degree and a new, to us, expense in health insurance for the family. If the work with me isn't a fit for her, or we just can't seem to make the numbers work out after our runway has been used up, she would go back to corporate America and find a new job. We even took out a HELOC on our home just as a fail-safe for liquidity if absolutely necessary, so we wouldn't have to pull from any penalized taxed retirement accounts. Well, we found out this weekend that 3 sets of couples we are mutually friends with locally are transitioning to a single-income home with a SOM for their new children. She told me tonight after chatting with them that she wants to take an extended leave from working full-time so she can spend important time with our child instead of sending them to daycare. When I asked Elle what that meant and how long she was planning, she said, indefinitely, which to her just basically means, until I'm ready to go back. We got into a big fight because I explained to her that we are not in a financial position to support ourselves off my commission, only income that can be highly variable with no benefits. Sure, we could manage for a handful of months, but not indefinitely. Our mutual friends choosing to do it have different circumstances, namely husbands in very safe and financially secure salary-based roles with benefits, and additionally wives with only moderate income jobs that won't be dramatically missed when accounting for the savings of childcare expenses. Elle feels like I'm not supporting her and said she feels very pressured to continue working and provide with a stable salary and healthcare. She doesn't want to miss important moments with our child and feels like the only way to ensure that happens is if she stops working full-time and instead does little side hustle type work in the evenings after the baby is put to sleep. As a reference, the side hustles are learning affiliate marketing, blogging, paid reviewing, selling old stuff on FB Marketplace, etc. It's not like she wants to start her own company on the side instead of working for mine. She also keeps bringing up how she supported me in my professional transition into real estate many years ago and carried the brunt of the financial obligations, but I won't do the same for her, which I feel like is an unfair comparison. I was transitioning from one career to another and working part-time jobs during the 6 to 8 months it took me to get ramped up into my very real full-time position in real estate. She wants to transition from work to no work and have me agree to support that. I can't seem to help her see that logically it's not about a lack of support. I showed my support for her transition into a career with more personal freedom when I told her she could quit her job tomorrow as long as she had a plan for when the baby went to daycare in a few months. Whether that's a new job in the corporate world or working with me to grow the family business or any other income-replacing endeavor. I don't care what it is as long as it's bringing in legitimate income or working towards that with a light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like that is supporting her choice to leave her toxic circumstance. But what I don't support is committing to a single income when we are just not stable enough to handle it. And when she said she felt pressured, I explained that her statement seems selfish because she's asking me to take on all of our financial responsibility with a young child so that she can stay at home and not work while I also pay for our new healthcare obligations and pay off her student loan debt that she just got. It literally makes zero sense to me why she can't see that this is our reality, and I would also choose to not work if it was an option, but unfortunately, it puts far too much burden on the now sole-earning spouse to handle it all. I know a lot of people do it, but it's not as impactful if a spouse goes from being a teacher at $40,000 per year to a SOM that saves the family $20,000 per year in childcare. It's only a $20,000 net loss. Elle is a comfortable six-figure employee, so I just don't think it's fair to ask, or even realistic to expect me to agree to. Sure, I could work 80 hours a week and make more money by investing more time, but why should I have to? She's always been very professionally driven, hence the recent master's degree, and it seems unfair to build a life on the expectation of two incomes just to bail as soon as our obligations get more complicated, and then expect me to pick up the slack by myself. I would not expect Elle to do it for me, so I'm frustrated that she thinks it's okay.
And yay, I'm assuming her friends' husbands are all in a consistent salaried position. Therefore, it's easier for them to know what they can/can't do financially. She supported you moving from one career to another. She's not doing that. She's stopping work and having any financial input when you can't confidently afford that. She's got FOMO. She's scared she's going to miss out with her friends, not her child. She was happy to not work for 6 to 8 weeks and go back to work, but now she's not. She's got to do what's right for your family as a whole and not compared to what her friends are doing. That's kind of sad and pathetic. Why can't she work part-time with a salaried job? She'd then be able to contribute financially and spend time with your child. Also, if she's planning on spending all her time with her friends, that actually won't do much for your child. They'd only be socializing with a handful of kids, whereas daycare, they'd be socializing with lots. The alternative is that you end up doing lots of extra work and not having any life/work balance, and I imagine that she'll be complaining that you don't help out enough at home/spend enough time with her/your kid. She's being incredibly selfish. No one wants to work, but unless we're lucky enough to have lots of money in the bank, we have to do it. I work part-time, 3 days a week since my kids were born, and personally think it's a good balance. They went to nursery/spent time with grandparents, whilst I also got to spend time with them and contribute financially. Now they're older, I've increased a few more hours because they are more independent. As much as I would have loved to not work, we couldn't afford it if we wanted a few luxuries like holidays or dinners out.